And we are back. Welcome to the final day of predictions in the quarterfinals in the Copa America. After another brilliant night's action, I've only been able to see the highlights, of course, but by the looks of it, what an entertaining game it was. End-to-end action, exactly what you want to see from knockout football. And honestly, the UEFA need to be having a look at the format in the Copa America whereby it just goes straight to penalties, because the extra level of drama you got from two sides actually going for it rather than being so tired that they basically stopped going for it really seemed to add an extra layer to the entertainment that was seen in that game last night between Venezuela and Canada. And like I said, from the looks of the highlights, chances at both ends, two brilliant goals, especially, of course, that Salomon Rondon goal, basically from the halfway line, lobbing the Canadian goalkeeper. Just unbelievable goal from them, and it was back and forth, chances at both ends, as I keep saying. It went all the way to penalties and straight to penalties as well, as I was just saying. And unfortunately for Venezuela, their run in the competition came to the end, and Canada make their way into the semi-finals, as I initially predicted in my full tournament predictions, albeit even though I said that they wouldn't make it through last night because of how Venezuela played. But to be fair to them, like I say, in the highlights I saw, they created a whole host of opportunities, Canada, and they got through that Venezuelan defence a fair few times. So I'll hold my hands up and say fair play to Canada. I wasn't too convinced by their attacking prowess and the highlights I saw from their previous matches, but they really showed themselves in this one. And it'll be interesting to see how they approach that Argentina game this time around, given, of course, the fact that they were very defensive against Argentina the first time and got beat quite comfortably. So we'll see what happens in that semi-final in the coming days, but that will do for my recap. It's time to get into the final day of quarterfinals action. So before we do, don't forget to drop a like on this video if you do enjoy my prediction series, and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. You still have time to check out my Euro predictions for this evening's matches before this video ends, so make sure you do that before kickoff at 5. And without any further ado, let's get into it. The final day of the Copa America quarterfinals, and we start off with the early game between Colombia and Panama. And I don't really think there's going to be too many people surprised that I think Colombia are going to win this. Like, Panama have done so well to get this position. Obviously, the main reason for that being winning against America 2-1 when America obviously had 10 men. But they are here on their own merit, and they are obviously going to believe that they can still try and get something from this game. The issue is, Colombia are now unbeaten in 25 matches spanning back to February 2022. They are unbeaten in over 2 years. They are playing absolutely fantastic football. They were arguably unlucky not to beat Brazil in their final group game. And to be honest, like I say, I don't think this should be too much of a contest. I'm going to go for 3-1 to Colombia. Panama have been well worth everything they've got in this tournament so far. They've scored in every single game so far in this tournament, and I do believe they'll score again today. I think Colombia, like I say, they've been so good going forward, but they have left a couple of gaps at the back, and they have been conceding probably more goals than they'd like. And I think they'll approach today's game with the same mindset. They know they're going to win, so they're just going to make sure they do, and they may leave themselves a little bit vulnerable at times, which will be where Panama get their goal. But ultimately, I think Colombia are just going to take this one pretty comfortably, and I'm going to go for 3-1, and then that will set up what will be a very interesting semi-final, be it against Uruguay or Brazil, which is obviously the game we have to talk about now. Now, in my full tournament prediction, I said that it would be Uruguay and Brazil in the semi-final, because I had Brazil and Colombia finishing the opposite way round in their group, meaning that it would be Uruguay against Colombia here, rather than Uruguay and Brazil. And look, I stand by what I said in my pre-tournament prediction for this fixture, and that is that I think Uruguay are better than Brazil at the moment. Then you put on top of that the fact that Brazil did end up finishing second in their group. They haven't looked very good outside of one good performance in the group stages where they won 4-1 against a Paraguay side who basically had as many chances as they did in that game, even though they lost 4-1. So I just don't think Brazil have much to offer in this game. I really don't. Add on to that the fact that Vinicius Jr. is suspended for this game for 2 yellow cards. Add on to that the fact that when these two sides met just 6 months ago, Uruguay played them off the pitch, beat them 2-0. Brazil only had 2 shots in that entire match, and they had Neymar on the pitch as well. And you now look at this fixture and go, how realistically are Uruguay not going to win this game? They're just a better team. They should, in theory, completely roll over Brazil today, and that's the way I see it going. And I'm going to go for 3-0 to Uruguay, and I think they're going to issue a real statement to the rest of this competition to say that we are the favourites for this competition now. Colombia have been fantastic. They're unbeaten. Argentina had been fantastic, but they've had their wobble. And Uruguay have been impressive throughout. And tonight, they put their stamp on this competition by absolutely obliterating Brazil. And I really think they can do it. I think it's going to take a real good defensive performance from Brazil to keep Uruguay out. And don't get me wrong, they've got players capable of doing it. Marquinhos, Eder Militao at the back. They can stop that Uruguayan attack. But I just don't see it happening. I think Brazil are in disarray. I think they've now lost their best player as well. And I think that Uruguay are just going to beat them easily. But that's just the way I see it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching as always. I'll be back, of course, once again for the semi-finals once they come around. So I'll see you there.